Hello, Algebra 2 students. We are going to start 1-2 properties of real numbers. The objectives or the learning targets for this section is going to be, we're going to be able to classify real numbers. And the second video is you're going to use properties of real numbers to evaluate expressions. But in this video, all we're going to do is just focus on this objective right here. So the vocab, you can find this vocab, real numbers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, integers, whole numbers, and natural numbers. You can find that on page 11, okay? The actual definitions. Now I'm not writing this out because I have a visual that I'm going to show you, but by all means, if you're a word person, go ahead and write these down. Look in your book on page 11. But the visual that kind of helps me is this right here. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and pause the video when I'm done speaking. You're going to go ahead and draw this graphic in your notes. I want you to go ahead and make sure you take this up, take this notes, or take this graphic, make sure it takes up the whole page of your notebook. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and pause the video and write this down. Alright, so in this graphic, you're going to see what each of these categories looks like. So natural numbers, 15 and 2 is an example of natural numbers. Natural numbers are going to be your counting numbers. Okay, they are your counting numbers. Whole numbers are going to be your counting numbers that include 0. So the only thing we're adding to this is 0 right here. Okay. Now we're going to step it up a notch and we're going to have the integers. So the integers are your counting numbers with 0. Now we're going to tack on, we're going to include negatives. Okay. And then, so now we have counting numbers, we have 0, and we have negatives involved. Now we're going to fill in the gaps with our rational numbers. And the rational numbers are going to include your fractions or your decimals. Fill in all those other spaces. Fractions and decimals. Okay, and all of these are included in real numbers. These are all classified as real numbers. Okay, so we're talking about real numbers because later on in second semester we're actually going to talk about imaginary numbers. But for this chapter, for this semester, we're talking about real numbers. Now if you notice, what else is included in real numbers are these irrational numbers. Okay, so we have two categories. We have irrational and rational. Alright, and irrational, these are your numbers that you're going to take on square root form. Pi is what happened there? Pi is an irrational number. These are numbers that can't be written as fractions. So they can't be written as fractions. And the decimals don't, the decimals don't terminate or repeat. Okay? So we have real numbers encompasses irrational and rational. Rational encompasses integers, whole numbers, and natural numbers. So I like to think of the Russian nesting dolls when I think of that. One fits inside the other. Okay, and then you have, of course, you'll have your irrational outside here. This I do want you to copy down. These are the letters that we use. So Q stands for rationals. Again, this is a math class, so our English is a little off. I stands for irrationals. Z means integers. W is whole, and N is natural. And here's some examples. Feel free if you want to write down more examples if you would like. And yeah, all reals, I guess, is right here. R is your real numbers. All right, but these need to be written down. So pause the video and write those down. Okay. Name the sets of numbers to which each number belongs. So let's look at negative 23. What is negative 23? What is that a part of? Well, we know it is, okay, so we know it is an integer, so I'm going to put a Z for integer. Now, since it's an integer, that means it's also going to be a rational number. I remember rational is Q because of quotient. And then since it's encompassed in the real, it's going to be a real number. Okay. Square root of 50. If you take the square root of 50, punch in your calculator, you're going to notice it doesn't terminate or repeat. So it's going to be an irrational number. And of course, all irrational numbers are real numbers. And then 4/9, this is a fraction. So this is going to be a rational number. It can be written as a fraction. And again, it's going to be a real number. So there you go. We went ahead and classified numbers within the real number system. And that's all I have for you today. Come with questions if you have any. Thanks, guys.